Shadows fall, dimming the light. Whispers grow, a rising tide. Vindicator, where do you hide? Steel is over, heart ablaze. Through smoky haze, he sets his gaze. Justice calls a burning need. A city's wounds he vows to heed. From cobbled streets to tower high, Vindicator takes to the sky. Strikes back with iron hands, defender of this promised land. Breaks the chains, sets spirits free. Vindicator for all to see.
1,000 strong, we march for our heritage. With the dragon, we stand united.
Whispers turn to thunderous roar. As shadows creep, he slams the door.
March strong, we will win.
He fights for freedom, takes a stand. With courage born of darkest night, he ignites hope, a guiding light. Strikes back with iron hands, defender of this promised land. Breaks the chains, sets spirits free. Vindicator for all to see. Though battles rage and darkness reigns, hope's ember burns within his veins. He'll never yield, he'll never fall. He answers freedom's clarion call. Strikes back with iron hands, defender of this promised land. Breaks the chains, sets spirits free. Vindicator for all to see. A symbol etched against the moon. Vindicator rising soon.
Hello everybody, how you all doing? Hi chat, how are we all doing? Can you hear that in the background? If you can hear a rumble in the background, that's the fan. I've got it on full because it's absolutely stifling in here. It's red hot. It's insane. I've got to have the fan to try and keep the computer cool so it doesn't crash. So yeah, I apologise for the noise in the background if you can hear it. But how you all doing, guys? I want to cover this because this is an interesting comment, right? 22 master number, we won. We took down Starmer. Today is a day of exultation. Don't celebrate too soon. Although Starmer's gone, the idea and ideology behind him hasn't. The face of the ideology is gone. Yeah. Nothing to celebrate. We've still got the remnants of the Starmer regime in government. Andy Burnham's going to be no better. We still have a Labour government. Their mission is still the same. Andy Burnham is World Economic Forum through and through, just like Keir Starmer was. Different face, same agenda. We can only celebrate when the Labour Party has been absolutely, utterly dismembered and destroyed and never has the ability to get to power again. On that day, we can celebrate. On the day we can celebrate is when we have a true right-wing party, a true right-wing prime minister in number 10 that is actively taking this country back to where it should be. And we can't celebrate until that day. This was just a minor victory. Removing Starmer was a minor victory. And he wasn't really removed. You know, he jumped before he was pushed. The coward jumped before he was pushed. You knew there was going to be a leadership contest. Andy Burnham's already put himself forward. I doubt there'll be any contenders. I think it will just be him, and he'll just be installed as the new face of the globalist elite, with which we're to manage the decline of this country. That's what's going to happen. I don't want to come down on anybody. I don't want to be down on anybody. Yeah, but that's just the truth. Okay, Kim. But you know what I'm getting at, yeah? People are saying it's time to get out the champagne, it's time to celebrate. No, it's not. No. This is like us landing on the beaches of Normandy. We've landed on the beach of Normandy, and now we've got the task of liberating the country. The battle is just beginning, really. Yeah, this just getting rid of Starmer just marks the beginning of the battle. That's just the first obstacle. We've still got a long way to go. And let's look, right? If he does call an early general election, let's say he does pull the self-destruct button, right? Because he's deluded and thinks that he can get a majority. He can secure, a bigger majority than what he's got already. Then I don't, to be honest with you, I don't think he's going to call a general election. He'd be stupid. He'd be stupid to call a general election right now with the majority he's got in Parliament, because he's risking everything. He's gotten what he wanted. Starmer's gone. He'll be in control of the Labour Party with a massive majority. He doesn't need to call a general election now. Doesn't need to do that. He'll just carry on. He'll just carry on doing what he's doing. Yeah, Keir Starmer won't care. Keir Starmer doesn't care. He's not bothered. He'll get his nice fat pension, his state-protected pension that's protected by an act of Parliament, and he'll retire. And like people saying, he'll either retire to somewhere like Switzerland, close to where the Davos cabal is, Israel, somewhere like that. That's where he'll disappear to, because there'll be nowhere safe in the country for him. He's got to live abroad now. In my opinion, it's going to be from bad to worse. Yeah, you're right. I predicted this. I said if Starmer ever left power, it will gradually get worse. Each particular leader will be worse than the last, and it will get to a point where they can no longer sustain the government. It'll just keep collapsing, and then we'll have to have a general election. Hopefully, by that time, it'll be closer to the 2029 election and people ready. But I'm probably guessing that Restore Britain know there's a potential for an early general election, so they're probably redoubling their efforts to get all their candidates and people ready for an early general election. If they're smart, that's what they're doing right now. To me, I wouldn't be concerning myself with the mayoral election of Manchester, which is what Restore Britain is doing. I wouldn't be concerning myself with that. I would be putting all my effort into making sure as many candidates are vetted fully as possible. So if there is an early general election, you can field all the candidates. That's probably what I would be doing. Might be a bit of a tactical mistake to go after the mayor. It's a bit of a stunt, in my opinion. We don't need stunts. We need decisive, proper action. Me too. I've got no doubts that's what they're actually doing. I wouldn't be surprised if they're thinking, we've got to get ready now. We've got to get ready for a probable general election, which is why I think they're boosting efforts to make sure branches are open all across the country in every constituency. If you've noticed, there's been a massive surge forward and a push for that recently. I think they're redoubling their efforts. I'm not criticizing them for that. I'm sure that's exactly what they're doing. But I don't think this mayoral election in Manchester is a priority. I don't think it is. I think their resources could be used in other places. Yeah, I think that too. I think they'll be ready. I think they'll shock people. Yeah, I'm sure that behind the scenes in their meetings, they're saying we have to prepare. That we know there's every chance there could be an early general election. Because even with Andy Burnham as the new Prime Minister, the government could still collapse. We're still not out of the water. These people are not going to fix things. They're just going to keep doubling down and doubling down on their ideology. They don't have the capacity to change direction because their ideology drives them in the direction they're going. So the direction they're going is wrecking the country. I'm sure there are branches opening all around you. You've got to look around. I didn't even know there's a branch in my town until I looked for it. So maybe Google Restore Britain and see what comes up in your local area. Here's my prediction. Burnham will get the commies back, Corbyn, Abbott, etc. And then he'll go for another general election relying on the Muslim Green and the diehard Labour voters to get another 5 years. Possible. I think anything's possible at the minute in this country. I wouldn't write anything off the table, to be honest with you, at the minute. We've got another 2.5 years left of these clowns. Yes, we have. No, there's nothing to celebrate about yet, unfortunately. The mayoral election will boost Restore Britain. A lot more people will get to hear about Restore Britain. Yeah, I suppose that's a valid point. Valid point in that. Burnham will be as bad, if not worse, than Starmer. All Fabians sticking to the plan. Yeah, people don't realise he's a Fabian, just like Starmer was. There was going to be no change. There's going to be no change in direction whatsoever. We're still going the same path. In fact, he's more heavily into net zero than Ed Miliband, Andy Burnham. So he's not going to help the farmers out. He's going to double down on those policies, isn't he? So nothing's going to change. Get beyond Restore Britain. Farage is to the left. He has people forward. We see Farage what he is here in Ulster because we don't live in GB. Farage is a Provo fanboy. Believe me, I've seen it. All right. I watched him when he said "up the Ra." Not a lot of people know what that means, "up the Ra," but we know what it means, don't we? Lady J and I. Yeah, we know what it means. I've heard several stand up to racism chant that "up the Ra." I'll let people try and guess what that means. Maybe Lady Jane can inform them in the chat what that actually means. But yeah, I've seen him say it. So yeah, know exactly what you mean there. Right. So, as I mentioned in my morning walk video, I haven't watched the full interview yet. I just haven't had time. When I got in, I was busy. So, I haven't had time to watch the full interview yet. I have got the clip of Rupert Lowe when he's criticising ethno-nationalism. Right, so we're going to take a look at that. And then we're going to explain why he said the things he did. We'll get it up. We'll just play it. It's warm already. I can feel the heat rising. It's not good. Right, so where are we with it? I have to go to bookmarks first. Bookmarks, right. So this is the clip. And take a note of the people that are sharing it. I'm not going to mention the names, but take a note of the people that are sharing this sort of stuff and why they're doing it. Yeah? Who is this guy anyway? So, are we sharing it yet? No, we're not sharing it yet. Right, that's good. There we go. Take a note of the people that are sharing this sort of stuff. Yeah. What motive have they got to cause a divide between people who support Restore Britain? Just think about that. So this guy here, I can't even pronounce that as a name. I'm not even going to attempt it. Yeah. So he's a political commentator, Hindu, pandit, businessman, spiritual author. Yeah. That's who he is. And the person who originally shared it, right? This person here, very, very anti-Restore Britain, by the way. Very anti-Restore Britain. But we'll get into it. We'll play the actual clip.
For the party. I don't know of any party that audits its membership. And equally, I think a lot of for the party. I don't know of any party that audits its membership. And equally, I think a lot of the damage is done not by necessarily the right. Some is, and I detest far right sort of, you know, ethno-nationalist or neo-Nazism. I've never been driven by that.
So there, he's very specific about what nationalists he's against. Yeah. Now, I would even argue, right, that your neo-Nazis, your fascists, your actual Nazis, right, they're not actually right-wing, they're left-wing, because National Socialism is a left-wing ideology. It is. Same as communism. The way I would describe Nazis, neo-Nazis, fascists, whatever, is racist communists. That's how I would describe those people. So those people aren't even on the right anyway, in my opinion. They like to think they are. They like to attach themselves to movements to make themselves look bigger. We've seen it over the last few weeks at protests. They try to hijack protests because their movements really aren't that big. They're insignificant. But they're the people that are being used to demonize everybody else. Because when Rupert's talking about extremist far-right ethno-nationalists, he's talking about those people. And this is what I was talking about in my morning video today. This is why I call myself a nationalist, right? Because it disassociates myself from that term. I'm not an ethno-nationalist. I'm a nationalist. I'm an English nationalist. Yeah? To some extent, a British nationalist, because I want to preserve all the cultures, all the native cultures of the British Isles. Scottish, Welsh, Northern Irish, English, Southern Irish. Yeah, I want all those cultures to be preserved because they've been here for thousands of years. So, firstly, I'm an English nationalist, and I would say, secondly, I'm a British nationalist in that respect, where I want the whole cultures preserved. Yeah. So let's make the distinction, right? So when Rupert Lowe's talking about ethno-nationalism, he's talking about the extreme elements of that. He's not talking about your everyday nationalists, which is what the majority of ethno-nationalists are. They're just your everyday nationalists. They're not extreme in any way, shape, or form. This is why I don't use the term, because it's easily. This is why the people that are seeking to divide us use the ethno-nationalist term, because it's easy to divide people. Yeah. If you use the term nationalist, this is what I was saying in my morning water video. If you use the term nationalist, then they've got to come with you with the arguments. They've got to try and prove you're an extremist. If you call yourself an ethno-nationalist, you're already doing half the work for them. You're already putting yourself in their little box that they will use to demonize you. It's a term that will be used to beat you over the head with. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah? I would never call myself an Irish nationalist vindicator. I'm a loyalist. No. I get that. But for me, I'm for everybody's culture. Yeah? We're all in this together now. All our petty differences have to be put to one side. Yeah? There's old rivalries between Welsh, Scottish, and the English. All those old rivalries need to be put to one side because we're fighting a common enemy now. And that common enemy is the globalists who want to seek to destroy our cultures completely. And I think the one thing that we can all agree on, every single one of us, whether you're Northern Irish, Southern Irish, Welsh, Scottish, or English, we all want to preserve our cultures the way they are. I don't want to see my culture disappear from the face of the planet. I don't. And that's what these people are trying to do. They want to destroy our cultures. They want to erase us, and we can't allow that to happen. Yeah? If we're in it together. Exactly right. We can all be individual nations, but that doesn't mean we can't come together to fight a common enemy. We've done it before. Yeah? That's what I'm getting at. So don't allow these people to divide you, because they will use it. They will try and put that wedge between people who call themselves ethno-nationalists, because in my opinion, they're using that term wrongfully, because an ethno-nationalist is a nationalist. You're just adding ethno to the front of it. You're simply a nationalist. That's all you are. Yeah? But people like Danny Roscoe, Bass and Bougie, Paul Thorpe, the rest of them, they will use these terms to hit you over the head with, to try and cause division. That's what they'll do. I've got no issues with you calling yourself an ethno-nationalist, right? Just be aware that that term will be used against you. Yeah? Yeah, I don't agree with those people. They're part of the globalist elite. They're part of the people we're fighting against, Lady Jane. So I wouldn't call them Southern Irish. Just think of them as a occupying force. That's the way I see the Labour Party. The current government, they're an occupying force because they're controlled by foreign elements. Same with Sinn Féin. Sinn Féin is controlled by foreign elements, the same way our government is. So the Southern Irish people are under occupation from foreign people. Yeah, that's the way I look at it. You have to separate the government from the people. I've got a lot of friends in Southern Ireland that see the IRA as the enemy, that see Sinn Féin as the enemy. They see them as betrayers, as traitors. A lot of Southern Irish do. It is the very British legal reason. Yeah, I know, we've been through all this before. Our governments are occupying forces. That's the way we have to see them. Yeah. Right, so I've covered that, right? And he does go on to, well, actually, we'll cover the last bit of it, because he does clarify a little bit.
Equally, I'm not driven by what I call the malign left, which actually is capable of equal evil, if not more evil. And yet, because they're left-wing, they're not required to audit their membership. They're not criticized when for the party. I don't know of any party that...
Right, so let's have a look at this, because this is interesting from Tommy Robinson. Right. Now, I've not really come out and condemned Tommy because, you know, he's entitled to his opinions. But on this particular occasion, he said something really stupid. Now, I think it's because he's got a personal beef with some of the leadership or advisors of Restore Britain. This is why he said this, right? So he says here, Charlie Downes wants to rejoin the EU. You need to get rid of this clown, Rupert Lowe. He's continually effing up your message. And you know what, Tommy? There's certain people in your team that I would get rid of that's effing up your message. Yeah? Maybe look in your own backyard first before you start criticizing other people. And Tommy has completely missed the nuance of this, right? I don't think he's even watched the clip. He's just done a knee-jerk reaction. He's just seen what this person has put and then run with it. Because if you watch the actual clip, that's not what Charlie Downes is actually saying. If you listen to what he's really saying in this, right? He's not saying join the EU that is around now, right? He's not even saying join the EU. He doesn't even say that in the clip. Listen to what he actually says.
Well, it may be the case in the coming years that with the rise of parties like the National Rally, the AFD, and various others across Europe, that the EU takes on a different character, a more nationalist character that respects the individual identities that it governs. And if that is the case, do you know what? I'm going to stick my hands up and say we should probably be part of that, especially if Restore or Reform, to a lesser extent Reform.
So what he's saying is, he's not saying he wants to rejoin the EU as it is presently. He's saying if the EU gets taken over and becomes nationalistic, like it looks like it will do, then we should work with them. He's not even saying join them. He just says work with. That's a different terminology. So what Tommy Robinson is saying is complete nonsense. Charlie Downs wants to rejoin the EU. No, he's not. He just says he wants to work with them more closely. And what's wrong with that? What's wrong with wanting to work with nationalistic parties within the EU that align with your own values? There's nothing wrong with that at all, is there? And in reality, we probably are going to have to work with them, because if we're going to rid ourselves of these foreign invaders, it's going to take all of us, even countries on the continent, because we need them to keep their borders secure, to keep our borders secure. Yeah? Absolute nonsense from Tommy Robinson there.
Get into government, because maybe it is better that we're part of that than not.
What do you guys think to that? Yeah? That's just completely misrepresenting what Charlie Downs was saying in that segment. Complete misrepresenting him completely. Yeah. This is why I couldn't go down to the United Kingdom march. Yeah. This is why I can't support that movement, because their politics is centrist politics. I'm not a centrist. I'm a full-on right-winger. I want a hard right government. They don't. They want centrist, wishy-washy politics that we've had for the past 30 years. So I can't get on board with Team Tommy or anything like that. I can't. Yeah, I can't get on board with that at all. It's just not my politics. I'm a Remainer. I didn't vote to leave the EU. Different for us here in Northern Ireland. Should be a border between all of us. The EU border is now in the Irish Sea. Conservative traitors, yeah. Let's have a look at this. What's he saying? At the same time, Rupert Lowe should have named the party the Revenge Party, because he really just wants to take down Farage. No, he doesn't. What he has done is, and I would criticise him for this, is he's got involved in the argument way too much. He doesn't need to talk about Nigel Farage anymore now. He doesn't need to talk about what was done to him. Everybody knows that now. Yeah. And like I was saying in the chat, you know, if you're going to make those sort of statements, you better bring the evidence. Yeah. I've got much bigger issue with Tommy telling he's probably a dodgy state asset whose prison centres were staged. I don't know. And like I said, that's just speculation. You know, for me to say that for sure, you would need to bring evidence and prove it to me. Yeah, that's just speculation. Yeah, got no issues with anybody speculating or anything like that, but we can't assert it as fact, can we? Yeah. That was it. That was exactly right. We didn't even get Brexit. A lot of people saying Brexit's failed. We didn't even get Brexit. We got Theresa May's surrender deal, which wasn't Brexit at all. Boris Johnson just rehashed it and just went with it. It didn't even negotiate. Boris Johnson didn't even negotiate. Look at what opportunities he had. He had a massive majority in Parliament. He could have really stuck it to the EU and said, we're taking back control of our territorial waters for our fishermen. We're going to rebuild our fishing fleet and reinvigorate our industry. He didn't do it. He capitulated to the EU. He was no different. He was no different to Theresa May. He was just a World Economic Forum stooge put in that position to lead us down the garden path and then deliver absolutely nothing that he promised. He made things worse, not better. That's what I mean. He's been called out for it. The evidence is on the news programs when he speaks. Yeah, but where's your evidence for it? Yeah. See, what you're conflating, right? I will say this, right? What you're saying is, where is he? What you're saying is that when he's accused of things, when he responds to those accusations, that's somehow him getting revenge. It's not at all. This is what I see all the time when people criticize Rupert Lowe. Yeah, they constantly say he's attacking Farage again. It's just that Restore Britain is just the Farage revenge party. Well, if you're going to make hit pieces about him and talk about him non-stop, belittling him and trying to put him down, he has a right to reply. He has a right to respond to that. And that response is not getting revenge. He's just defending himself. And this is what I see all the time, right? People like yourself don't think Rupert Lowe should be allowed to defend himself from attack. He should just sit there and take it. Because if he gives any back, that's him getting revenge on Farage. Without taking consideration in the first place that these people have been constantly attacking him since he left the party. Look at the evidence of what they've done to him. Fabricated allegations against him. Smeared him in the newspapers. Yeah. They've passively aggressively on news programs suggested that he got dementia. Don't you think he's got a right to respond to that and be angry about that? He had police turn up at his farm because of Zayus's false allegations and confiscate all of his weapons. Do you not think he has a right to be angry about that? Or when they levy new allegations against him, like he's just one man on the internet, on social media, that he has a right to come out and defend himself and set the record straight. Because if you don't believe he has a right to do that, you don't believe in free speech. For some reason, I've got real issues with StreamYard because it doesn't, for some reason, it stopped updating the chat. I have to do it myself now. At one time, it used to flow normally, but every now and again, I have to keep refreshing the chat because it doesn't forward it, and I miss a load of comments. Right, so that was that. Yeah. Let's clarify some other positions that he's had, right? All right, so look at this. Where are we? This is spot on. I agree with this sentiment, right? I agree with this. The best thing Restore could do is drop the CivNat FNAT debate. All that matters is, are you a nationalist? Do you recognise that the native British people exist? Do they have a right to their homeland? I am certain Lowe would agree with that, as would many others. Myself included, who would not describe themselves as ethno-nationalists. Genuine British nationalism is enough. We should not get lost in the weeds of ideological purity. 100%. This is my sentiment, exactly. Like this person here. The only reason the term ever came up was to get the point across to retards that there is a difference between civic nationalism and actual nationalism. Yeah? And civic nationalism was a term coined by the far left anyway. Yeah? For that very purpose, it's identity politics. It's identity politics yet again. Divide and conquer. Call one group one particular name, call another group another particular name, and then set both groups against each other. And whilst they're busy fighting one another, they're distracted. Yeah, they're distracted from the real issues that need to be addressed. This isn't a thing that we need to be addressing. This is nothing at all. We should all be concentrating on getting back our country. And the people that propagate this sort of argument are the people that want to divide us. And they're doing it for a reason. They want to destroy Restore Britain. We can't allow them to do that. Yeah? FNAT versus CivNat is the false dichotomy. CivNat is another tricky word. to manipulate patriots into supporting mass immigration. Good boy, pat on the head. Yeah. Civnats are basically centrists. Yeah, they're centrists. Yeah. FNAT, CivNat argument, just like Protos Catholics, divides politics here. You're nationalist. Yeah. It's like everything else, right? Nationalism is on a scale. You have your moderates, you have your extremists. It's that simple. And then anybody debating you, trying to call you something like you're an extremist nationalist, well, okay, then prove it. Yeah, then the pressure is on them to prove what you are. That's why I've told people not to use it. People will still use it. People will still call themselves ethno-nationalists, and that's fine. But they need to be aware it's a stick that will be used to beat them over the head with at every opportunity. They just need to be aware of that. The best way of not being attacked by a weapon is to disarm the weapon from your opponent. Take it off the table so they can't use it. Yeah? Rather than taking the hits, surely it's better to disarm them and not have that, let them have that weapon in the first place for them to use against you. I haven't watched that guy in a long time. I used to watch him. I don't watch him anymore now because I'm sorry. Like I said, he's got control of his channel. He can do whatever he likes on his channel. It's his channel to do with whatever he likes. But it's just become the Iranian TV channel. And I'm not interested in conflicts in foreign lands that aren't, that have nothing to do with us. Yeah. Then you said before he does say too much and said you're wrong for mentioning it. What I said was, right, he gets involved. People try to draw him into an argument with Nigel Farage. They try to draw him into it. There's a difference between being dragged into an argument and defending yourself from accusations from people. Yeah? That's what I meant. So when an interviewer brings up Nigel Farage, Rupert Lowe just says, I'm not interested. He can do his thing, I'll do my thing. That's all he's got to say. Yeah? But if Nigel Farage or the Reform Party comes out with accusations against him, then yes, he has a right to address those accusations. Not backtracking. Not backtracking at all. Yeah? Just clarifying. Know the difference between clarifying a position so you understand what I'm saying and backtracking. That's not backtracking. Yeah? Right. Let's have a look at some other things, shall we? That's it for that. Let's have a look on my actual page, because I didn't actually bookmark these, but they're actually on the page. This is what Rupert Lowe actually was actually saying about things. Right. These are things we can all actually get behind and unite behind. Where are we? I'm not even going to talk about Keir Starmer resigning. I've heard enough of that guy. I'm not even going to play his speech because it's just absolute. This is what I meant from earlier from Andrew Bridgen. Right, he's exactly right with this. The despised Keir Starmer has resigned. He's gone. It's time for Andy Burnham to be the human shield for the totalitarian policies of the New World Order. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. This is not a time to break open the champagne. Couldn't said it better myself. Nothing has changed. Right, this is what Rupert Lowe's kind of coming out and clarifying his position now on everything, right? So he says this. Exactly. As I stated, Restore Britain will reverse mass immigration and end such radical demographic change. We have set out our plan, the most detailed ever produced, to remove millions of people, and we mean it. Can't be clearer than that. Yeah? So this is what he's saying about ethno-nationalism, right? Ethno-nationalism. This is Harrison Pitt. Ethno-nationalism was coined by the left liberal historian Hans Kohn. I think that's is it. I don't know how to pronounce that. At the tail end of World War II, precisely in order to muddy the waters. The aim was to confuse a healthy love of one's own with predatory fascism. This move has been tremendously successful on its own submissive terms, but catastrophic for the West. When Rupert says he detests ethno-nationalism, he pictures brown shirts smashing up businesses. He does not picture those among our public-spirited supporters and activists who choose to identify with that term. We should not be bewitched by Cohn's mischief, but we can assure you, Rupert wants to live to see mass migration reversed and the demographic security achieved for the native peoples of Britain. In addition to pushing these policies in public, he has told me as much many times in person, and I would like to devote my time to a party committed to anything less. There you go. So he's coming out and saying, look, so this is what Rupert Lowe is saying now. Right, this is Rupert Lowe saying this. We are expecting yet another hit piece in the establishment media today against Restore Britain. This time because the following comparison included on a Restore Britain Makerfield leaflet. I agree with Reform UK Deputy Leader Richard Tice that Britain becoming minority white British by 2063 is not a problem because he will be long gone. Versus, I agree with Restore Britain that the demographic change and mass immigration must be reversed before Britain is changed forever. Restore Britain is right. The country is on track to become a minority white British, and clearly that is a stark demonstration of how mass immigration from the third world has transformed our country forever. Do we want our grandchildren to grow up in a country that is overwhelmingly Pakistani Muslim or Afghan? No, absolutely, obviously not. To hold those concerns is in no way racist. We are being accused of again. This is just demographic reality, particularly with the growth of Islam and the associated birth rates. The Muslim population is growing at a rapid pace that will at some stage become the majority. It's a fact, and sadly, as we've seen elsewhere, the Muslim population does not need to become the majority before every demand is met. I understand no other politician wants to touch any of this, particularly in reform, but unless we find the courage to do so, it's an inevitability. Restore Britain's programme of mass deportations will reverse the demographic change. Through deporting all illegal migrants, all those foreign nationals who hate our way of life, cannot speak English, refuse to work, claim benefits, live in social housing, commit crime. That is Restore Britain's position, as I've said repeatedly from day one, and he has. We are working on an overall estimate for that number, but it will be many millions. To the journalist who is trying to shame us, there is my response. I make no apologies for it. I stand by every Restore Britain position on that leaflet. Publish away. There you go. You can't be clearer than that, can you? You can't be clearer than that on his position. Yeah? Rupert Lowe can't be clearer. So don't believe these people that seek to divide, because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to divide up the membership of Restore Britain. Don't let them do it. It's the divide and conquer tactic. And I firmly believe that some people have actually been paid and employed to do this. I believe it's their full-time job on the internet to try and seek to drive division between people. That's what I believe. I think there's definitely money involved in this somewhere. A lot of people have done dramatic turns in their attitude and their worldview recently. It's very, very suspicious. And the amount of content they're pushing out, which is basically just constantly bashing Restore Britain from the other content they were pushing out at one time, is very, very suspect. It seems like they're on a quota to push out a certain amount of posts every day attacking Restore Britain. It's not organic. It looks manufactured to me. Yeah, that's what it looks like. So beware of these people. Challenge these people. Yeah, challenge them on their views. A lot of you do. A lot of these shills for reform make themselves look like fools, because the instant they put this propaganda out, they immediately get ratioed in the comments. So let's see what happens. Yeah. There are going to be lots of people coming out. There are probably people in the chat now that are trying to make connections, that are trying to cause division within the Restore movement by saying, oh, certain people have connections to certain people, these people have certain connections, trying to muddy the waters with Restore Britain. Don't believe them. Ask for evidence. Yeah. You need a good, healthy debate, not you're wrong after he said the same thing. He's making himself look wrong. That's just in your opinion. Yeah. He's just clarifying his position. That's what he's doing. What's that about? He looks like a Socialist Worker Party leader. Yeah. That's all that's talking about. So that's Rupert Lowe's position. Yeah. That's his position on that. There's nothing else on here I was going to look at. This was another thing as well. Connor Tomlinson. I think Connor Tomlinson says the right thing here as well, right? So Connor Tomlinson will just enlarge that a little bit, right? So he says this: ethno-nationalism, racism, and neo-Nazism are not synonymous. They are distinct concepts, and we should be precise in our language. Otherwise, the same stick is used to beat all of us. Exactly right. And nations are ethnic groups. Trying to divorce national identity, heritage, is a fool's errand. Japan would not be Japan if it were majority non-Japanese. Israel would cease to be Israel if it weren't a Jewish state. The same rule applies to the British Isles. That doesn't mean reckless, rude, or vindictive treatment of non-natives, but it does mean the native ethnic group should remain a majority, in possession of their own territory and sovereign state. Couldn't agree more. That's my position exactly. Yeah. I think that's the majority of our positions, isn't it? And Connor Tomlinson says this here as well, and I agree with this as well, because he's been a little bit critical of Rupert Lowe here, and I agree with this. Never volunteer phrases the enemy can use to beat you with. Nationalism is the principle that nations, ethnic groups should possess their own sovereign states and territory. That is not the property of a narrow ideologues like Nazism. Conflating the two needlessly springs to the enemy's traps. Unlearn this maligned post-war word association. Correct. Yeah? He's a decent lad. It makes a lot of sense. He takes a lot of flack. I mean, a lot of the reformers take the piss out of him because he's young. I know a lot of old people. I mean, a lot of people assume wisdom with age. Look, have you seen a lot of the lefties out there? A lot of the lefties are just boomers, baby boomers. Yeah? They haven't got a clue. They're as thick as pig shit. This notion that we associate wisdom with age has long been disproved. Yeah, there are some smart old people out there with common sense. There's a lot. It's not a mutually exclusive deal though, that just because you're old you're smart. That's not the case at all. It's not. Whereas you can have the opposite true as well. You can have a lot of young people that are wise beyond their years, I've met quite a few of those people as well. Yeah. He does. Which group are baby boomers? Baby boomers. It's the one before Gen X. So go look it up. Generation X. When is Generation X? Is Generation X from the early, is it? I know it's from Gen X is 70s, 80s, 90s. Is that it? Gen X? No, it's not, is it? Gen X is late 60s, 70s, and 80s, I believe. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. 47 to 50s. That's it. Yeah. '69 onwards. Yeah, Gen X is 69 onwards. So I'm a Gen Xer because I was born in 1974. Yeah. We were, and this is what I was talking about my morning walk video this morning, right? Us Gen Xers, we had the best of both worlds, didn't we? Because we had the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. We actually had probably the last 3 decades before the country went to shit, didn't we? Yeah. Nice one. We had the last 3 decades before the country went to absolute dog shit, Gen Xers. But, you know, I tried to explain to people that are from the millennials about what it was like before, you know, not millennials, you know what I mean, Gen Z. We'll call them Gen Z. That's what they are, Gen Z. And they just got no concept of it. It's like the way that we could just walk around and not be fearful of getting stabbed, you know? I mean, Gen Xers, right? All you Gen Xers out there in the chat, you'll remember a stabbing, just one stabbing, anywhere in the country was national news because it was so rare. It never happened. Never happened. You know, the things that we now see in the news that are on in the news every single day was a rarity. You get a news flash. If somebody's been stabbed, it come on TV. They'd interrupt your TV program, say news flash, somebody's been stabbed. It was that rare. They don't do it now. They don't do it now because it's an everyday occurrence. We've lost so much. You know, I look back at the old pictures. I look back at the pictures from the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. And how much we've actually lost. You look at London. London's a completely different place. Completely different place. It's majority white. You're walking around there. Everybody's happy. There's no litter on the floor. There's no, I don't know, degeneration or anything like that. Everybody's respectful. It looks a nice city. It looks like somewhere where you'd like to visit. I wouldn't take my family down to London now. Not at all. I wouldn't take my family down there. Not one little bit. Yeah, they don't have to now. They just watch it on TV. The mysteries. Yeah, they got it in reality. They don't have to watch the murder mystery anymore. They can just walk down to the local street and look out for the local crime scene where someone's, you know, been unalived. But yeah, we've lost so much in this country. People bang on about diversity. Oh, diversity is our strength. It wasn't worth it. If we have actually gained anything from diversity, which we really haven't. I mean, the lefties bang on about, oh, we've got the food, we've got the music. Yeah, but is that the price? Is the price really worth it for all the murder, death, and destruction in the country caused by that diversity? We've lost so much more than we've gained from being diverse. That's just a reality. And you only have to look at your own towns, your cities to see it, right? That's what we've lost. When your hometown is becoming majority another nationality, you know something's wrong. You know you've lost something substantial. Yeah. I don't go to Sheffield. I used to go to Sheffield a lot at one time. I don't even go to Sheffield now because it's like, I don't know. I think I'd need a flak jacket and an M16 to enter Sheffield now. A stab-proof vest. It's that bad. I have friends that still work the doors in Sheffield, and they say it's a war zone at the weekend. They often message me and say, "Oh, we had shots fired at us last night with shotguns. People pulling up in Mercedes, winding down the window and taking shots." It's like America. It's like Miami in the 80s in London, in Sheffield right now. It's crazy. I worked construction in the city of London for 20 years. Honestly, mate, it's a hellhole. Might look good on the outside, but when you get inside, it's not England. No. Sheffield is a turd. I went there for the provisions a while ago. It felt unnerving. Yeah. I had to go a few years back for some security training. And I had to stay overnight. I had to stay at the Travel Lodge in Sheffield. If anybody stayed at the Travel Lodge in Sheffield, don't stay at the Travel Lodge because it's basically a brothel. The local, let's just say, women of the night use the hotel for their job, if you know what I mean. So you can imagine the undesirables hanging around it. Not good. I decided to go to a restaurant at night because, went out. And I was walking up the street, walking down the road, gang of youths, usual demographic, you know what I mean. Usual demographic. And wind blew, tucked into his belt, firearm. People say we don't have guns in this country. We do have guns in this country. There's a lot of gun crime in this country. People just don't want to admit to it. Just having a look through the chat, see if I can see people. So I'm just seeing what people are saying. Well, yeah, I just want to have a chat and a discussion with people about stuff. I'm going to show you this, right? I'm going to show people how not to debate when you come on the channel. Yeah. I want to play this back because I haven't had a chance to actually look at this yet. I'm going to play it back. Let's have a look at it. I just want to talk about this. I'm going to talk about this and where are we? Live. That's it. So play that. We'll get that out of the way because I want to play this in a minute. Let that play. So we'll share this because this is interesting. I want to. Yeah, this is it. Good. A guy came on and debated. Yeah. Come on, adverts. That's it. There we go. Right. Let's share this. This is an example of how not to debate. Right. I'm talking about the person that comes on. Right, so this is my live stream for the day where I was talking about the Makersfield and the cope from Reform supporters, right? The link's in the chat. Just click on it. You'll come backstage. Yeah. Have your audio ready before you come in, though. Yeah. So this was a guy called iPop Lad who wanted to come in and have a debate, which I said, yeah, fair enough. Come and have a debate, and we'll talk about your differences of opinion that you have with me. Yeah, I'm always up for debate. It's not an echo chamber. Anybody can come in and have a debate if they want to. All you got to do is say so in the chat. I'll drop the link, and you come. Yeah. You're going to show your face, buddy? Yeah, you're not showing your face at the minute. Come on then, mate.
I am.
How you doing, buddy? How you doing? So you've called Restore. You've called Restore Britain supporters cultists. So I'll let you have your say. You have your say. You put your best argument forward, mate. Yeah.
Okay. First of all, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. It's nice and polite. Yeah, I think reform supporters are becoming a cult, and I'll base this on the online Restore supporters. They tend to, what I've come across personally and other people that I know, be immediately defensive. So, for example, whenever I've shown even the slightest part of interest in what Rupert is doing, more than anything, okay, Rupert's the head of Restore, but more concentrated on Rupert himself and what he's done, I've only had negative feedback, like, oh, you're ex-advance. No, we don't want you, first and foremost. If a current reform supporter would like to move across to Restore, gets the same answer. Current, not before, but now it's the same thing. It's becoming a cult in my mind because
but right. So this is just you saying this though. Where's the evidence for this?
No, but I'm basing it on the fact that I just want to finish that small piece of my argument, and obviously, but basing it on the fact that, as far as I can tell, and you'll probably back me up on this, is Restore is considered hard right and would not like to include centre right.
Well, why would centre right want to join Restore anyway? That's the question I want, because it seems the centre right have got massive issues with Restore Britain. They do. What have the centre right been doing since its inception? What have Advance supporters been doing, and Advance itself been doing? They've basically been calling them neo-Nazis. Everybody's neo-Nazis that's involved with Restore Britain. That's what we've been getting non-stop since the inception of Restore Britain. Yes, they have. We've got evidence of it. Yeah. There's evidence out. Yes, they have. Yes, they have.
Okay. There are certain scenarios and situations where that is likely the case. I have not heard anyone call everybody who follows Restore that. So a blanket opinion, it's your saying. Yeah, but a blanket opinion has not been said.
Just let me speak.
A blanket opinion has not been. Of course.
Ben Habib called the whole of Restore Britain tacit racist. That's the leader of Advance UK.
And that is based on what, a leaked WhatsApp? Is that what you're basing it on?
Well, he still said it though, didn't he?
Yeah, but do you know the context of the conversation? Sorry, okay, but I've said many things in my life, but if you don't know the context of what I'm speaking about, you can take any little short clip and basically you can pick on anyone and that's the same for yourself. So the context is very, very important.
Right. Excuse me, I've let you have your say. Let me have my say, right? So it doesn't matter if it's leaked or not. That's what Ben Habib said. Yeah, he said that, oh, we're going to carry on. Restore Britain has become racist. That's what he said. That's what he said. That's Ben Habib, and he's come out and said it in person. Yeah, he called Rupert Lowe a dictator. Yeah, publicly.
Well, if you base it on the context, he is a dictator. Not in. No, because you didn't understand. No, Vin, you misunderstand. You're misinterpreting.
I'm not misunderstanding.
You're misinterpreting. Restore is a limited. Restore is a limited company in the name of Rupert Lowe. So therefore, in this case, Ben Habib is right. Because
He's not a
the only
dictator.
person
He's
that
not.
owns the whole of Restore
Excuse me.
is Rupert
Let me
Lowe.
speak.
So
Let me
therefore,
speak. Let me
one
address your
person
comments.
means...
Right,
Yeah, but you're not listening. You just want to interrupt me because you don't...
No, you're not letting me speak, right? You've had your say. You're not letting me speak. Let me speak. There you go. You can ramble on all you want. You're going to let me speak now, right? Ben Habib called Rupert Lowe a dictator through lack of, what did he say? Through lack of democracy within Restore Britain. Yeah, you rage quit, mate. You rage quit. Yeah, you rage quit. Don't like it when you start getting the facts thrown back at you, do you? Yeah? I muted you because you weren't allowing me to speak, being disrespectful on my stream. Yeah? You can't debate, mate. You can't debate. You just wanted to come on in and have your say and just interrupt me. I allowed you at the beginning to have your say. You weren't allowing me to speak. So yeah, that was
Easy.
so that was that. That's how you don't come on and debate with me. All right? He allowed me to have his say. I allowed him to have his say. Then he allowed me. Then when he realised that he was probably going to lose that particular argument, he just kept on rambling on and wouldn't let me have my say. Because he was talking about context, but he wouldn't let me put the context right of why Ben Habib called him a dictator. He said it was due to a lack of democracy within Restore Britain. Given the fact that Restore Britain had just launched, there was no constitution of the party yet. And like I said, the hypocrisy of that, of Ben Habib calling Restore Britain a dictatorship, was laughable, since I'd previously done an interview with Paul Burgess on this channel, who was a member of the Advanced UK College, and said that it was run with an iron fist by Ben Habib. People were being denied their free speech within the college, which was a little bit strange because the College of Advance was set up to hold the executive to account. The College of Advance main priority was policy and to hold Ben Habib to account, the leadership to account. Now, how can a college do that if Ben Habib is sitting as the group leader on WhatsApp chats in the college? But this is something these people neglect. Yeah. Yeah, I've got no problems with it, but you've seen it. I've had civil debates with people in here before. I give people the right to reply. I give them an ability to respond. But when people just keep talking and don't respect me and try and talk over me, I just mute them until they calm down and they accept that it's my live stream and that I will let them speak. And he just rage quit because he knew he couldn't get a word in. He knew the minute that he stopped talking, he was going to get his arse handed to him. But yeah, that's not how you come in and debate in my live streams. Yeah? I'm a perfectly reasonable person. But he came in there purposely. He'd been causing trouble in the chat. That's why I invited him in. Because these people shoot their mouth off in the chat. It's like, right, come in then and let's have a listen to what you've got to say. I've not seen that yet. What do you think of Restore confirmed the Manchester Mayor candidate? Who is it? I've not seen it yet. Who is it? Have they confirmed an actual candidate yet? Well, they were. Yeah. Ben Habib is a loose cannon. I don't trust Ben Habib as far as I could throw him. I think that Advance UK is the bullet that Restore Britain dodged. They dodged having Ben Habib having anything to do with that party. Massive bullet dodged in Ben Habib because he's done nothing but come out and badmouth Restore Britain ever since he's been denied access to it. I would say if I was going to choose anybody, if I'm honestly, it would be Nick Buckley for the Manchester mayoral candidate. I would. He's the best person for the job. I like Sammy Woodhouse, but Nick Buckley, best person for the job, in my opinion. He's from the area. He knows Manchester. He knows the people. That guy from a few minutes ago will probably be a Reform candidate in future by-election. Wouldn't be surprised. Buckley's class, different gravy. Got to be Nick. Good call. And yeah, definitely. It's got to be Nick Buckley. You can debate me. If you want to come and debate me, you can debate me. The only thing that I ask of people that come in is that when I drop the link, yeah, you'll come backstage. You'll show your face on camera so I can see who you are, so I know that you're a real person, not some troll that's going to try to do something stupid. And then you'll give me the thumbs up backstage to say that you want your face on camera. If you don't want your face on camera, you turn your camera back off, and then I'll bring you into the live stream. That's how we do things. So I'm opening it up. If this guy here called Ranger 6136 wants to come in and debate, that's fine. Let's do it. I'll copy the link, come in. Don't everybody try to come in. I'm just asking this guy to come in for the time being. Don't forget, you don't show your face, you don't come in. Have your audio ready as well, please. Links in the chat. Just got to come in. Quite welcome to do so. See if this guy's going to come in. If he doesn't come in, then I'm going to end the live stream. So we're going for... I'll give him a couple more minutes because he might be trying to get his stuff ready. I'll give him another 5 minutes. If he doesn't come in, then we'll... Oh, he's here. Yeah, sorry, I'm only looking for I'm not looking for anybody else to come in. I'm only looking for this guy that's going to debate me. Do you want to debate or not, mate? No. Okay. Right, I'm looking for Ranger 6136. I'm not looking for anybody else to come in and debate today because I'm going to let this guy come in and debate, and then I'm going to end the live stream. Okay. What Rupert Lowe's confirmed that it's going to be Nick Buckley. I know he's confirmed that they're going to field a candidate in the mayoral election, but has he actually chosen a candidate yet? I'll drop the link again because people... This is just for Ranger. It just went off, mate. There you go. There's a link again. You can come back in. You may want to edit your name before you come in because you don't want your real name on the channel, buddy. Yeah? Just heads up. But before you come in on the studio section, you can edit your name. If you don't want your real name to be shown in the live stream, you might want to edit that. Yeah? Hey, Annie. How you doing?
Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you, mate. Yeah.
Right, mate. Can I turn my camera off?
Yeah, turn it off, mate. Yeah. I'll remove it till you turn your camera off. There you go. Hello.
Hello.
Right. So, what do you want me to debate me about, mate?
Right, mate. I am.
Personally, I think that we're not going far enough with the kind of right wing. I am a Restore supporter, but I'll be honest with you. I think a lot of this stuff, and I want to say this in the nicest way possible. I wouldn't necessarily think you do this because I do watch you quite a bit, but a lot of people I'm finding, I can't think of any other reason except cowardice is the reason that they're saying some of the things they're saying. And it's frustrating the shit out of me.
So what are people saying that's frustrating you?
Well, right, okay. I don't like using the term ethno-nationalist myself. I think it's a kind of misleading term.
I agree.
But to be a nationalist, especially when we're talking about our own nations, there is an ethnic element to it. And anyone who denies it is either being subversive or is thick. So there's both options that we don't need.
But this is my concern, right? This is why the left added the ethno part to nationalist, because nationalist does cover the ethnic part of it. If you look at if you look at the actual definition of a nationalist, it mentions the ethnic part of it. So this is why I said in my morning walk video this morning, don't play the game. Don't use their terminology. Just call yourself an English nationalist. Then if they want to call you an extremist, they're already on the back foot because now they've got to prove why you're an extremist. If you call yourself an ethno-nationalist, something that's rightly or wrongly, that's already associated with the more extreme elements of nationalism, then you're already putting yourself on the back foot straight away in this sort of debate.
But do you think, though, right, even what you've just said then, when you said about the more extreme elements of nationalism, do you think we're in the position, though, where we can start to say, like, I'm going to be very careful how I say this because I appreciate you've got a YouTube channel, so I'm going to try and code this, but I don't think the hour that we're in, we have the luxury now of saying that we're so much above physical action. That's the best way I can say this without actually saying what I want to say, because I just feel like a lot of people, like people like Paul Thorpe and that, mate, they are the biggest grifters I've ever seen. I can't believe, honestly, that there's people who watch them. Like, honestly, it baffles me. But
you know what? You know why though, mate? Don't you? It's because bullshit baffles brains, mate.
Because it's coward. It's coward, mate. I was in the infantry for 8 years. I only left in 2022. So, do you know what I mean? I was in the army myself, but it's just, I don't know whether it is an excuse for being a coward. Because I'm going to be honest, mate. I think that if we had any self-respect as a people at this point, we're talking about the most kind of milk toast, very tame language that we're using against what we call left wingers. But at the end of the day, you need to be able to at least call the enemy out and exactly who they are.
And I'll explain to you, right? I'll explain to you why I think this happens, right? I think one of the things is because of the platform we're on. Yeah. Right. If we want to get the message out there, we've got to be precise in what we say, let's say, because it's not a free speech platform. No. YouTube is not a free speech platform at all. Trust me, mate. I want to be more extreme in the things that I say. Trust me. You know, some of my morning walk videos, if I uploaded them, the channel will be gone instantly. Yeah. I have to tone it down a little bit. And I agree with you, right? There are things I can't say on here. And to be honest with you, online isn't the place to say them. This is why I encourage people to form local groups where these things can be said in person and not online. Because if you say these sort of things online, you're going to get your door kicked in. We know that's going to happen, don't we? Yeah. I'm just, for me, it's not, for Paul Thorpe and the rest of them, the actual, the centrists, it is cowardice. But for people like me, I want to keep people safe and stay with the families. Because when you and I both know, shit is going to go down in this country, whether we like it or not. At some point, shit is going to go down in this country. And I want people to be able to be with their families and protect them and not be locked up in a cell where they can't do anything. Yeah. Yeah,
I listen. I concur with everything you've just said. I understand the kind of the problems with YouTube as it is. As much as there's things I want to say, you have to. I hate doing it, but you have to. You can find.
It's frustrating.
You can train. But I do think though we have to. A lot of people, especially I'd say on the right, I don't like using even the terms right wing personally, because I think it's such a control mechanism. But I think a lot of people have to understand that this is going to require extreme sacrifice. There is not going to be any scenario where we truly, like, even the concept of like remigration, if you actually believe that we can deport 20 million people, 10 to 20 million people without any kind of physical action, you are deluding yourself to such an extreme level. I think you're almost, I don't even want to speak to you, because there has to be this kind of realization that this kind of level of change is so extreme that there is no, I don't personally think, this is just my opinion, I think Restore is a stepping stone that needs to happen to push the more general public in a certain direction. But I don't truly believe in my heart of hearts there is a democratic way out of this, because all the apparatus of the state is so fine-tuned now. People generally, the average person, like I was in the army, I think you were in the army if you were, so you maybe understand this. I don't think the average person realizes how quick and how much violence can be brought down on people if the government decided to flip the switch. If you can't even have a battle with the police with riot shields, the idea that all of a sudden all these same men are going to be able to go through gunfire is just so insane to me. And I don't want to be horrible, and I don't want to be nasty to people and put people down, but I just think a lot of it's this LARP. I see it so often, this kind of like, we're going to stand in London and wave some flags and sing some stupid songs, and we're going to show them. These people will sit in a building, laugh their heads off at you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, 100%.
And you just think, can you imagine if all that energy was focused in it? I mean, that's personally why I think they don't necessarily want veterans groups to kind of band together, because they are not stupid. It's a bit different. They know.
I don't know about you, but I know on the back channels, obviously they're not going to be online, but they're somewhere around the country. Let's just say this is a hypothetical, mate. Yeah. Totally hypothetical, wink, wink.
Yeah.
Hypothetical, right?
Completely non-existent. Yeah.
There are people around the country already planning for civil unrest and civil war.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about civilians. We're talking about people that got experience. And I agree with you. People don't know about the violence of war or the horrors of war or what it entails. And this is why I keep warning people against civil war. It's like, you don't want to see that on your front doorstep. You don't want to see that in your front garden, because that's what it's going to be.
Yeah, I think so many people are so blasé and so cavalier. I see women, for example, like, I'm a firm believer in women should not go to protests. I personally, in my opinion, if I had control, I wouldn't let women vote. I'm on that end, because the vote always was intended as a bargain that you are able to take arms in defense of the nation. Now, if you have the right to vote on something, but then you also don't have the duty to bear arms. I personally, I'll be honest with you. I think a lot of problems that we have in this country, because men are generally more right wing, you find a lot of women are the ones actually voting left wing governments in.
Yeah, have you seen my videos? Have you seen my videos on the new Village Idiots? And it's all liberal women that have.
Yeah, of course it is. It's all women who just want to go out there and think that they're going to change. Like, there's so many things where I get so like almost completely blackpilled at times, where I don't want to be, but like, I think we have to be able, and I think especially as a people, we have to be able to call out who the true enemy is. Now, I'll put this, I'll code this, but I think we all know that there's a certain tribe, right? Yeah. And I honestly think if you cannot see that this is the thing that's happening, we're hopeless, because these people are so organized and they're so hell bent and committed to their goal that you can't, if we're fighting amongst ourselves, that we can't even distinguish who the enemy is. Because the one thing I will say that really,
I know you talk about, right?
I know. Yeah.
I'll make this distinction, right?
Yeah.
I've got nothing against those tribalistic people on an individual level.
Yeah.
The people I've got an issue with is and let's just say it, the Israeli government. I've got a massive problem with the Israeli government and its influence over our government and our politics and because it does. It's like Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is exactly the same. Both of these entities lobby, and we should have no foreign lobby interfering in our politics in this country. No foreign country should be able to influence the way our country is run. That's treason to me.
Well, yeah, by any definition in the whole of our nation's history, people would have been executed for crimes far less than they commit on a daily basis now. But listen, I get from what you're saying that you are probably on the end of more like it's more of a government. But the thing is, we may want to think of these people like, for example, with Islam, I don't think anyone, especially in your channel, would have any problem saying that the concept of the Ummah and the kind of global Islamic community, that if you attack one Muslim in Sweden, that means it's like you've attacked one in Saudi Arabia. They have that sense of like a global community. Now, no one would ever argue that that's the case because their texts clearly say this, and they don't make any secret that this is the way it is. I've been around these people. I don't know if you have, but I know exactly what these people think and what they act like. I'm not. You can never con me. Right. But I think the problem.
I'll say this right. Zionism is exactly the same as Islamism. Yeah, it's the political wing.
Of course,
of that political group of people, and that's the distinction I will make. If these people call themselves Zionists, if you've actually looked at Zionism, it's horrific. It's mental.
No. I know, but I think the thing is, it's. Like I said, I'm not going to say anything crazy, so don't worry about it. I'm very careful what I'm saying here. What I think the big distinction, though, and I think the realization I came to was because I didn't always think like this. I was generally speaking, I always thought that there was clearly people with vested interests who were Zionists, you could say, because you got to obviously most people know some of the most strident Zionists are supposedly Christian. Which that for me is completely incompatible, but forget that one. But I think that how many people, for example, know about? So we throw the words like communism and these kind of words around so often now. How many people generally know the true history of communism and Bolshevism in the early 20th century? Because just to put that out to anyone who wants to have a look. That if you start to educate yourself in where did the concepts of Bolshevism come from? Who were the leading Bolsheviks in Russia? The amount of death these people inflicted is so insane. Like, I genuinely couldn't believe it, some of the things I read. It sounded so extreme that I thought they can't possibly be true.
You know
but
what?
It is true.
A good starting off point for people, if they want to look at communism and how it developed, there's a really great channel on YouTube called Tick History. Have you heard of it? Go and watch his content. It's very good because what he states is because we all know that Nazism and National Socialism and that gets attributed to the right. It's not a right wing ideology. It's a left.
No, it's kind of no. National Socialism is a combination of right wing ideas with nationalism, but not international socialism. So there is a distinction. Socialism generally, when you say to a lefty, "I'm a socialist," they believe in international socialism.
Yeah.
National socialism is the concept of more for the benefit of the people. The people are the most important resource in any nation.
You know the way that I describe National Socialists is racist communists, because that's what they are. They're racist.
I wouldn't say it's communism. They believe in private property. So what the main?
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. That's the thing. They didn't. They didn't believe in private property. That's the thing.
Okay.
They didn't believe in private property.
I mean, we'll agree to disagree on that one, but like
most of their policies were actually basically communist.
No, they did like National Socialists. They would kill communists. Like
totally. But what it was, National Socialism was a different flavor of communism because Hitler didn't like the way that he didn't think that communism went far enough, so he wanted his own version of it. Yeah, that's what he wanted.
I don't agree. I wouldn't agree with that. I think I mean, apart from the fact that clearly we are incredibly propagandized, I think you'd have to be deluded to say that there isn't an element of propaganda. But I think this is where my issue comes. When we speak about us as an ethnic group, I assume that everyone, especially people who are more on the right wing, I hate using it, but more of the right wing of, say, Restore, which I clearly am. I think that we have to understand, though, that the amount of infighting we do amongst ourselves, while we're doing that, there is forces out there that have been around for at least 100 years, maybe 120 years plus, who are the same people. Global finance, I suppose, is the fulcrum point. Because
so, can I ask you a question, right? Because
yeah,
I'm going to wrap this up in a minute.
Go on.
What group of people do you think is the biggest threat to this country at the minute? That we're
right. I think the tribe, and I'll say it that way, is the greatest threat. But but there's a distinction. Islam is a threat, bigger threat, but in a different way. And what I mean by that is Muslims generally throughout the history have been far more game to at least have a fight, right? So a Muslim will have no problem squaring off with you and having a fight, and you may win and he may win. And we've been doing that as Christians, and Christians and Muslims have been fighting each other for 1,000 years, right? Yeah, we've been doing it everywhere. The difference is with the other group is that they subvert to get what they want. And that's the more dangerous thing, because it's far easier, as you would probably understand this. An enemy that shows himself to you is far easier to deal with. An enemy that cloaks himself in something else is very, very hard to spot. And generally, you'll only spot them when the shot's been fired, which is then too late. And I just think that we focus so much. Like, I fully believe that Tommy Robinson is a Zionist shill. That man is I used to actually have his phone number when I was in the army. Funnily enough, I used to speak to him. I genuinely like cannot believe that I see full-grown men standing in the street somewhere singing this guy's name. This guy would sell you down the river faster than anything.
I think that's because
does not care.
I've got my own issues with the Tommy movement.
That whole thing is as Southerners grift. They're all from Essex, and they all have the teeth done. They're all muppets, all of them.
I'll tell you, the one guy that really irritates me is Danny Tongo, because
don't even start me with that.
The people that can't see through him is the way he was on the English Channel, mate, in that boat. I was
and his boat's been sabotaged now. Or is he asking for more donations?
Oh, you're kidding me,
mate. I'll be honest with you. I think they are. I swear, I honestly believe this. That whole thing, that whole UTK thing, is an MI5 containment operation. 100%. That thing is being ran lock, stock, and barrel. Because I'm going to be honest with you, you're not going to tell me that all of a sudden all these people, how do they make the money? I earn a living. How do they make so much money? You'll get, do you know what? We just happened to bump into this well-known Zionist donor, and he just happened to give us $100,000. No, come on.
And apparently, it's not the first time. It's not the first. Apparently, he's been funding them for quite some years.
Of course he has. Bob Shillman, mate. That man used to be the head of the Friends of the IDF. He's one of the largest donors to the Defence Forces. What I'm saying is, it's all the energy that would be going to a more ethnic-centric kind of way of thinking is being diverted to this crap where people think that by going down to London for 2 hours, like, have you seen some of these people, mate? Have you seen them? Believe, like,
you know what, right? I don't blame the pages for going around, because the reason they go down to the UTK march, and this is the issue I had with it, right? They're going down there because they want a sense of belonging. They're desperate for an identity that's been stolen from them.
Yeah.
And wrongfully, they're dangling this carrot on the end of the stick, the UTK march, as if this is the option. It's like my main issue, and you probably agree with me on this, is right. When they do these events, they're protesting an empty building. There's nothing there. There's nobody there. It's just an empty building. And then you've got this twat, Ricky Doolan, on stage doing this. It's like he's a reject. He's one of the rejects from, well, he sounds like one of the rejects from Britain's Got Talent. And they're offering him up as some kind of, whoa, look at this. It's a festival. I've got no issue.
But I suppose, do you not have this sense though that? Right, I understand if you get taken in by the kind of fever, there's hundreds of people and it's loud and I get it, right? I get it. It's like a football match. That pack mentality starts to set in. But what I'm saying is there has to come a point where you have your own independent thought, right? And if you can't see that, do you really believe, like, this is the question I would ask. I've never been to one and I would never go to one out of pure principle. Because I'd be so cringed out standing there. I'd be sick on the floor. I couldn't cope if I was there. But I think honestly to myself, do you really utterly in your heart of hearts believe that these men, right, if it really goes loud and it really goes messy, these men are going to be up the front. That guy will be in a car hightailing it to Spain as fast as you can fart.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And honestly, and it sickens me because I've known men in my career who were tough geezers, real tough men who have killed on tours, who have shot like, do you know what I mean, in full combat and stuff. And I know the type of men that you need to do stuff like this, and I can see straight through him. That Danny Tomo, it always makes me laugh. It's like that man is the biggest shithouse. He frustrates the shit out of me when I watch his shitty videos.
You know what, mate? You know when I see the police brutalizing civilians like what they've been doing, and I think to myself, if you were facing a full squad of the people that I know, those shields and those little batons will seem like toys.
Well, doesn't that give you? Doesn't that frustrate you in a way, though? I mean,
it does. It does.
Where you see people, and I'm like, if you truly believe, if your heart of hearts, you truly believe that this is a civilizational battle where we are on demographic decline to the point where we, as a group, as a race, we will be extinct. If you really believed what you were saying, you would be out there heavily armed. Because ultimately, you've got to look at it this way. If you can't stand a police line, if you cannot stand, that thing in Southampton was a joke. There was one line of police right there. They were one man deep. You couldn't even break that police line. And you want to tell me that those same people are
you and I both know that if you're going to use medieval tactics, use medieval tactics.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because that's all the police do. They're using medieval tactics.
That's all it is. Yeah. It's all hand stuff. I mean, occasionally, like they'll pull out like rubber bullets and stuff. But I think this is the thing. We don't. In an American, this would be so insane to an American because they would see it as like, and this is why ultimately I think, say, the US government, as much as I think they're completely and utterly corrupt and in hot to another nation, I do believe that there is a limit to what they will push, though, because ultimately they always know in the back of their mind that every house in that estate is packing heat. They aren't messing with that. You see some of these Yanks, I've worked with some of them. You got these guys who have got 5,000 rounds of ammunition in the cupboard where the clothes are. Yeah. You're not messing around with them. What are you gonna what possibly damage are you gonna do to that guy who's got 16 rifles downstairs in his basement? Do you know what I mean? It's so different, but I think so many people, and I get it, that you see the desperation in them, and they want to believe that these guys are the answer, and it's this guy, this is the one we need to back because he's gonna, even Rupert Lowe, as much as I will support Restore, and as much as I'll back him as far as I physically can. There's always an element of me, and I think as I've been banned so many times, I'm naturally suspicious.
I was too, mate. I think after Boris Johnson and Nigel Farage, it was like, because people keep on saying to me, right? They keep saying, join Restore Britain, do this. I won't join them. I will give them my vote so long as they stay on track and do exactly what they say they're going to do.
Yeah.
Because I'm like you, I've been burned way too much in the past. Yeah, everybody thought in 2019, yay, Boris Johnson, he's going to be our savior. And he wasn't. He was the opposite, complete opposite of what we wanted. And we've had this for 30 years, mate. It's been the same thing for 30 years. And I don't think there are people in it, they romanticize about civil war.
Yeah, you'd be very, very careful what you wish for.
You don't want that in this country because it's not going to be charging into battle on white chargers in knights of shining armor. Yeah, it's gonna be Bosnia.
It's gonna be guys at night. It's gonna be guys at night with night vision on, putting your door through while you're in bed with your missus and black bagging your head. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And that's just the reality. This is what I'm saying. And
not only that, mate, right? They forget about this. It's like there's no law and order. That's gone.
No, it's completely.
So now you're not only fighting an enemy, you're fighting bands of bandits trying to fight for resources.
But I personally like Bo Dade off he's on the State of Politics. I actually think he's quite good. I like him all the time, Yeah, and he always says this. He always says we are like you're saying, like it's going to be some kind of Balkan Yugoslavia type deal where we are in some kind of tribal ethnic conflict, because you've got to think to yourself. You see some of these cities, like the best eye opener for people was when those Southport riots happened, where that Sky journalist went down to Yardley in Birmingham and they were doing donuts. They were doing donuts. All them lads, those Pakistanis, they were all packing weapons, and not one person did anything. And that was purely on the rumor that there was a march coming. So you've got to think to yourself, how many people, if say there was a march going, you are gonna get into a serious scrap with these lads, because they will fight. And if anyone believes that getting rid of these lads is going to be, it's a walk in the park, we'll just round them up and ship them out, you're going to get bloody.
To round up, right? I'll round this up, right? I think Rupert Lowe knows it. This is why he said that he's going to recruit ex-military into like an ICE sort of unit. He's going to need them. Because
I'll sign up. I said this to my missus the other day. I said this exact thing to her. I said, I tell you what, right, do you know, if he sets up some kind of deportation unit, I'll put my name down, and I can't wait to start putting the doors through.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I would go to my job satisfaction level would be so insanely good. Like, I would love it. And I understand what you're saying, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of lads, and you know as well as I do, I was medically discharged out of the army. So my prospects as far as like work that a lot of my friends went into with private contracting and stuff, I can't do it. So I got kind of really frustrated me when I left. And I'll just be honest, I think that if any lads that are game and any lads that actually got a set of bollocks on them and have got a bit of testicular fortitude and actually are proper men, right? Not some gelhead who thinks he's, do you know what I mean? Have you seen the skin on these fellas, mate? Like, get a grip.
I'm 52 and I'd sign up.
Honestly, it's not necessarily the women, it's the men. You are going to be uncomfortable. This is a job that if we do this at the level that it has to be done, this is going to be like a decade slog. This is going to be the most hard work you can possibly imagine. Because I'm telling you, those lads in Yardley and Birmingham, you think you're getting them out without a fight. Good luck with that one. And that's if this unit is armed, by the way. You know, you're saying like an ICE type unit.
Yeah.
Is it going to be armed?
I think they're going to have to be.
It's definitely going to have to be. You're going to have to be armed with firearms, because there's no way.
You've only got to look. Right, you've only got to look at what happened in America when they started trying to deport these people. What happened? The left kicked in. You had the left. You were fighting the left. You're also fighting the people that you're trying to deport.
Yeah.
So to me, you've got to come down on them hard. And like Rupert Lowe said, it's going to be hard, and people probably aren't going to like what's going to happen.
No, they're not.
It needs to be done. And I would say they're going to need to get the water cannons back out, mate, for these people when they do start doing it.
Mate, I'm going to be honest. The way I see mass deportations, I think, do you know what? Right, there is one element of hope I have. I think that we can do it, because logistically, there's nothing actually stopping us from doing it. It just requires iron will. You cannot buckle for it for a second. I'm not being funny enough. You just have to accept that there is, unfortunately, there is, just by statistics, there is going to be deaths, because statistically that's going to happen. Just like in any situation. But we have to understand that if we don't do this, right, no matter what your personal feelings are, I don't want to be nasty to this guy. For your children's children, you have to do it. Because if you don't,
people haven't thought about this either, right? They didn't, MI5 lost 45,000 insurgents in this country. 45,000. They just disappeared into the population. Don't you think they've got their own terror cells somewhere? So you can be fighting them as well.
Mate, I'm telling you, this is what I'm saying. We live in basically, it's like the Truman Show. Our world, our nation that we live in is a carefully managed, like anarcho-tyranny, basically, isn't it? We live in a constant, perpetual state of lawlessness. And unfortunately, what's going to happen if we do become very balkanized, which I think we will, what is going to happen is there is people out there right now. If we even think about the grooming gangs, think about the network required to do what they did. This is a national network, trafficking network. This is not this like half-arsed, oh, we jumped in a taxi and then so you got to, even if you just look at it in that sense.
I'll just say this: I don't know where you were when you were in the military. I was out in Iraq.
I was in Afghanistan.
I was a CP. I was a close protection operative out in Iraq. Right.
Yeah.
And we got a little bit more access to the country than just regular soldiers, because you know regular soldiers they don't really move around on their own in country, do they?
No. I know.
Yeah, we did, and we went to some remote places, mate, and we saw the shit that went down. What ISIS actually did.
Yeah.
I mean, we turned up one day. We were supposed to be protecting this particular asset, and we turned up, and they just murdered the entire village. It had gone. Yeah, everybody was dead. We walked in around the houses. We had to document it because we had to report certain things, and the way they killed people was horrific. And these people are in this country, mate. They're here.
Oh yeah, 100%, mate. I saw TikTok videos. I'm not on TikTok, but I've seen a video. This was about 2 years ago, I think, 2-3 years ago, where there was this Taliban unit. I think it was called Badri 313 or something like that. It was one of these. It was their good operations, a high level operations unit, and they have a special hand signal they do. And I remember seeing a video of some guy getting off a boat doing the same hand signal, the same hand sign.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I'm telling you now, you have got people like, we just have to accept that, like, our ancestors, when they forged this country and maintained this nation, our ancestors, if I'm going to be honest with you, at this point would be so ashamed of us, especially as men.
You know what's heartbreaking?
It's so sad to think that, like, the average guy in the Second World War, mate. My granddad was on Gold Beach. The average guy in the Second World War. Do you know what? Right.
I'm glad. Mine was too, mate. I'm glad he was on Normandy. He went to Normandy, beach to Normandy, D-Day, and I'm glad he's not here to see what's happened to this country. And you know what breaks my heart, mate, is that World War II D-Day veteran. You remember him was on GB News.
I remember him. Yeah.
In Britain, and he just came out and said the quiet part out loud.
Wouldn't have bothered.
It wasn't worth it.
No, it wasn't
worth it.
It wasn't, mate. I mean, I think ultimately I always honestly see the Second World War as a brothers' war, because you've got to understand, like, us and the Germans, we are essentially the same ethnic group. We are Northern Europeans, same as the Scandinavians, the Danes and stuff like that. You've got to think to yourself, like, I mean, I remember there was a famous General Patton quote and General Patton, obviously famous American general, and he said, and this was after the war, and he died in very, very mysterious circumstances a couple of days after he said this, so I don't know. But he did say that basically, now with hindsight, he then now realized that the true enemy we should have been fighting was the communists.
Oh yeah.
Because you got to think to yourself, we got involved in the Second World War. We declared war because Germany annexed part of Poland. And who did Poland go to after the Second World War?
Yeah.
The USSR. So you got to think to yourself, mate, as my grandfather, right, yeah, he said directly to me, he would have rather have gone with the Germans and killed the Russians. Because honestly, and this is a man who went all the way through France, all the way through the Ardennes offensive, right, yeah, into Berlin. This guy saw some mad stuff. Right, I can't even imagine maybe some of the stuff, especially the Ardennes, mate. That would have been hellish.
Yeah.
Right. I just honestly, yeah.
Granted, before he died, he watched Band of Brothers, right? He watched that, you know, the Battle of the Bulge and that sort of thing in the Ardennes forest, where it was like a nightmare situation. I mean, he said, yeah, that it's not like that. It was about 1,000 times worse than that.
Oh, mate, I can't even imagine it.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. I just think that, like, we have to stop playing their game. And I mean, I would say I think anyone who knows what I'm saying, you know who I'm talking about. Yeah. It's kind of obvious. We need to stop playing their game, mate, because I'm telling you, like someone has said then, yeah, Brent Meister, history is written by the victor. There's never been a truer word said. Our whole civilization went downhill in 1945. That, with the end of that war, is the beginning of that. I see that war as the final charge, if you like, to maybe.
Well, look what happened. We lost the empire, didn't we? The war lost us the empire.
But that was going downhill from the First World War. That's exactly what I'm saying. What was the whole point of the First World War? If anyone knows, the whole point, like someone said again, the Weimar Republic. The Weimar Republic was one of the most disgusting things that has ever existed. If you want to look into something vile, mother and daughter prostitution duos. Who owned all the movie industry there? Who owned all the clubs where this happened? Even the idea of the book burnings. When that happened, what books were they actually burning? And if you actually look into what they were burning, you would join in right now. It is. We have to understand that the history that we know, and I was taught when I was a child, and you were taught when you were a child. It has been spun in a certain direction. And a lot of it, I'm not going to say what I think because of your channel. I get it. I just think that our movement, especially on the right, we have to stop beating ourselves up, because all we do day in, day out, as much as we think we're like people go based and everything's right wing and stuff, is it really? Is it really, if you're still in the same breath saying, well, as much as I disagree with this, actually, the mid-century Germans were truly an evil people. Were they really evil? What, worse than the Soviet Union? Worse than the Bolsheviks? You've got to be mad to think that they're worse. You've got to be truly psychotic.
I'll be honest with you, mate. Right? I think they were both on par with each other at certain
No,
points.
they weren't, mate. They weren't. I mean,
I think they were.
Mate, no, they weren't.
Yeah.
No, not
camps, gulags. Yeah, same sort of thing.
No. I'm saying the Bolsheviks, right? The Bolshevism is the most evil ideology that has ever existed. There is not even by a country mile. There is no. You look at quotes from Leon Trotsky. I think it's on a scale, mate. Right? I get it, but I'm saying the famous quote from Leon Trotsky said when he started man-made famines. Right, yeah. He said, this is his own words. Leon Trotsky said, if you want to talk to me about starvation, only tell me when women are eating their own children.
Oh, yeah. You won't get any arguments from me that, communism, really, really bad. I mean, I talk about it on the channel all the time, mate.
Yeah.
We don't want communism ever again. And to a certain extent, we don't want National Socialism either. Yeah, we don't want that either.
Oh, I don't know, mate. Honestly, I'm not going to say what I truly think in that sense.
Definitely not National Socialism.
But I'm going to be honest. I view the mid-century period as
I'll agree with you on this, right? That people in 1930s Germany were misled.
I don't think they were misled. I think they knew exactly what.
I think they were misled to follow a madman into.
He wasn't. No, Hitler was not mad. Hitler was a very cogent, very, very good speaker. He knew exactly what he was doing.
He was a maniac, mate. Hitler was a maniac. This is where you're going to lose me now. This is probably where we're going to disagree the most. Hitler was an absolute maniac.
But why do you say he was a maniac, though? Why do you say that? Out of interest?
6 million people dead.
So you really believe those numbers?
You're not going to be a Holocaust denier, are you, mate? Please don't be a Holocaust denier. Those things happen.
You cannot.
Those things happened. They happened, mate.
Right. Well. Wait a minute. Right. Okay. I've got to be very careful how I say this. I'm not going to try and do anything mad. Okay. If you just go off pure numbers, right? Pure numbers. This is not my opinion. This is fact. If you go to Auschwitz-Birkenau, you could go on a plane to Poland today. Look at the plaque that has been changed about 4 times inside that camp. That tunnel with the big railway tracks is not even the supposed part.
Mate,
it is a tourist destination.
I respect you, but I'm not going to entertain this type of question, right? This is not what this channel is about.
No, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. we can both at least agree, and I think we
can agree to disagree on this one.
We're compatriots on the idea that I believe in my country, and I know you do, and I believe that we need to be the masters of our own destiny.
Yeah.
How we get there is a different story.
We can probably both agree on this, right? We'll end on a good note, right?
Yeah, okay.
Right. Hoping for the best, voting for Rupert Lowe, restore Britain, planning for the worst, preparing for the absolute worst, getting communities together, looking out for one another, building strong English communities is very, very important. If there's one thing we can take away from our enemies, is that strong communities provide you with security and safety. They do.
Yeah.
They
do. That's definitely something we need to really get back to as a people, because we've always been very, very strong, solid groups of people, especially the English as an ethnic group. We've always been super, really wholesome people, but very tough people also. And I just think that, as usual with anything like this, the first thing you can attack is someone's heritage, because it is the kind of foundation block of any people. So we do need to remember sometimes, I think, that we aren't always these meek, forgiving British values, that kind of rubbish. We really need to remember the many, even if you just want to honor the memory of the people who built this country. I do really think that we need to, if anything, like you're saying, build strong networks and communities, because really when it matters, when the show starts, I think a lot of people are going to wish that they took some advice like that.
All right, mate, I'm going to end it here.
No problem.
Well, thank you for coming on, mate. I appreciate it. We disagree. We agree to disagree. Yeah.
Fine.
But this is what debate's about. It's not about having a raging argument against each other.
No.
You can look at my points, I can look at your points, and we can just disagree about it.
Yeah.
But we all agree. I think everybody in the chat agrees. We agree that we need to take back this country. It's our country. It doesn't belong to anybody else. It's ours. And anybody
at the end of the day, we're all Englishmen.
Yeah. We want our country back, and we want the best. Natives first. Yeah.
That's it.
There's nothing wrong with natives first. Every other country in the world does that. Every other country in the world does that. Natives first. We're front of the queue in front of everybody else. And that's because we've paid into the system and we've built the system. That's why. Yeah. I think I was
going to say there's someone in the chat. I don't have a channel, mate. I've just decided to come on. Like I just do you know what? I seen his live stream, and I was like, I wondered if I could get on, because all I seem to do is just riff at a screen. So yeah, fair play. Thanks a lot for letting me on. I've never been on a live stream ever.
No, so kudos to you, mate. And
thanks
you for
very
service,
much.
Mate. Yeah.
Thanks very much, mate. Thank you.
No problem, mate. No problem.
Bye.
See you later, mate. All right, interesting debate. Right. Different opinions. Don't always agree with people that come on my channel. Don't always share the views of the people that come on the channel. And obviously, some of his views don't reflect the views of this channel at all. Yeah. But he's entitled to them. It's his right to say those things. Yeah. That's what we're about. That's what we're about. That's how you have a debate. Even though we disagree, agree to disagree on things. Yeah, we won't. I don't always agree with everybody and everything. You know, I don't. Let's have a look at some of the chat. Right, so let's go into before I end it. Let's go into the reasons why I don't like national. So it shouldn't be controversial. The reason why I don't like National Socialism, right, and why I don't like communism, because they're both pretty much the same ideologies, right? Because National Socialism and communism want a big state. That's just reality. Both those ideologies want a big state, and I don't particularly want the state intruding into my life. I want them to F off out of my life. In that regard. So I don't support any ideologies that want to encroach into my personal life and tell me how to live my life. And that's exactly what communism and National Socialism did or do. Yeah? He doesn't have a channel, buddy. He hasn't got a channel. We just said he hasn't got a channel. No, we don't need to agree on everything. I don't think I know anybody that agrees on absolutely everything. Really don't. Yeah, good guy. Right, guys, I'm going to end it here. We're going for 2 hours. I only meant to be going for a short time. But yeah, thank you for coming along, everybody. And I shall see you all soon. The morning walk video tomorrow. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Obviously, Keir Starmer has resigned. But there you go. That's it. That's the story. Keir Starmer's resigned. Nothing's changed. The country's still in real shit. We're probably doomed for the next 2.5 years until we can get a general election, unless there's an early one. But I doubt it. So look at some of the chat, right? Of course he has a channel. That's how he joined the panel. His channel name is Ranger. Yeah, but he doesn't have any content on it. I mean, there's no content on his channel. That's what I mean. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Remember to like and subscribe. Enjoy your day. Thank you. This is it. This is where we end it. I shall see you all soon. This is Vindicator, signing off.